10e minute de jeu.
Je suis Aurélien Chedjou, faites comme moi. Écoutez Radio Audace, c'est sur 106.8 FM.
Radio Audace. Je suis Henri Bédimo, faites comme moi, écoutez Radio Audace.
Hello there, sport lovers, and welcome to joining us on today's edition of your program, Club Audace. It is exactly 2 p.m. Times have changed, and of course, we have just 52 minutes to dissect all the stories that animated the world of sport over the weekend. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, the big story of the day, which of course we shall be setting the ball rolling, is about the just ended Super Cup finale, which of course took place yesterday at the Douala 🎵🟬 Sports Soccer Theatre. And of course, it was 🎭🟬 that accepted a 2-0 defeat from the almighty s𝘂𝗿 🎭🟬🲓. Permit me remind you all that today at exactly 2 p.m. already in Kribi, we have the start of the Shantabia Cycling Tour. And of course, we shall be telling you all of that in the course of today's edition of the program, ladies and gentlemen, on remote compte à 0.
Le sport comme vous aimez, c'est sur Radio Audace.
Ah oui, and of course, ladies and gentlemen, we'll begin this afternoon talking about the Super Cup finals, which of course was played yesterday at the Douala 🎵🟬 Sports Soccer Theatre. A good soccer romance between 🎭🟬 and of course s𝘂𝗿 🎭🟬🲓. Meanwhile, it was 🎭🟬 that were too weak, and then s𝘂𝗿 🎭🟬 was able to smash them 2-0 with an early opener within just 2 minutes to the start of the game. It was Passos who find the back of the net through a penalty, which of course a foul occurred and a penalty was awarded by the central referee Tanya Shadrack. And of course s𝘂𝗿 went back home with their taste in between their legs. This time around, we're going to be listening to S𝘂𝗿 'who of course expressed his disappointment at the end of that game of yesterday. Take a listen to him.
Nous avons fait tout ce qu'il fallait, mais nous sommes passés à côté de la première mi-temps. Et quand on a essayé de réparer nos petites erreurs, on est revenu, et bien revenu. Mais dommage, ça a été sans panache. Ça manquait de baraka. Ça n'avait rien à voir avec la fatigue. Parce qu'en deuxième mi-temps, ce n'est pas mes joueurs qui s'écroulaient, c'est les joueurs en face. Mais je dis encore que nous n'avons peut-être pas été plus réalistes. Comme eux, ils l'ont été en première mi-temps. Ils ont joué, c'était une première mi-temps qui était la leur entièrement. Mais on est revenu. On essaie de corriger les manques et les failles. Mais on n'a pas pu scorer. Ce qui a fait la différence. Leurs buts sont restés et nous perdons la main. Parce que d'entrée de jeu, on n'a même pas eu le temps de se mettre sur le terrain quand on considère un premier but. C'était vraiment pas facile, mais je crois que c'est les leçons que nous avons tirées. Le championnat, c'est dans quelques jours et nous pensons qu'avec le championnat, nous allons remettre les pendules à l'heure. Vous ne pouvez pas avoir fait un mois dans une équipe et vous pensez que vous êtes en bien dans la préparation. On n'a pas suivi les étapes normales d'une préparation digne de ce nom. C'est pour cela que j'ai dit que la préparation était pratiquement escamotée. Et nous pensons qu'avec le temps, nous allons pouvoir remettre tout ce qu'il y a lieu de faire pour que nous ayons un championnat en bonne et due forme.
S𝘂𝗿 Emmanuel Nubeboso, remember that 🎭🟬 is just fresh from a 2-0 victory over the weekend where they defeated PWG. Pete Tonton of Bamenda. That was in the grand finale of the Challenge Cup of Cameroon 2023 edition. And of course, they were coming to Douala hoping that they are going to clinch a second title or a second trophy to take back home to the West region. But it is rather unfortunate that they were not able to reach the expectation yesterday. And of course, you listen to S𝘂𝗿 🎵🟏. He is just less than a month into the team at the helm of 🎭🟏. We are hoping that the things will definitely change as the days are progressing. Now, let's turn to the president of Kotos 🎭🟏, Monsieur Fernand Sadom, who, of course, tells us that Kotos 🎭🟏 is coming in for a good surprise this season in our domestic league. Take a listen to him.
Coton reste, Coton restera. En ce qui concerne le trophée, ce n'est pas un lot de consolation, c'est une suite logique. Un vainqueur du championnat avec un vainqueur de la coupe, vous-même vous pouvez analyser et trouver le verdict. Nous sommes venus gagner la coupe, nous ne sommes pas seulement venus jouer, mais nous sommes venus gagner. Et c'est ce que nous avons fait. Les ambitions, déjà, vous savez, nous avons toujours, à l'issue de notre conseil d'administration, nous sommes fixés déjà des objectifs comme par le passé, toujours faire le doublé et aller très très loin en compétition africaine. Parce que vous savez, compétition africaine, nous sommes avec des gros calibres. Et cela veut dire qu'il faudrait qu'on se prépare en conséquence. Et c'est ce qu'on a essayé de faire au démarrage. Mais malheureusement, ça n'a pas pris. Et je pense qu'on reviendra, on va rectifier le tir. Nous avons un effectif. Nous sommes en train de travailler avec le nouvel encadrement technique constitué du français Daniel Bréard. Nous sommes en train de travailler cette équipe et pour la ramener vraiment au centre du jeu et pour gagner les rencontres. Et même les compétitions. Merci.
All right, that was Mr. Fernand Sadom, president of Kotos 🎭🟏, expressing his sentiments after yesterday's brilliant victory of his team. I'm being joined on the line to Boya by Boris Esono. Good afternoon, Boris.
Good afternoon to you, everyone, and good afternoon to all the listeners.
I'm delighted receiving you here on the platform this afternoon.
The Southwest is perfectly okay this afternoon.
All right. Now, with you, we are going to be talking about the just ended Super Cup finale between 🎭🟏 and Kotos 🎭🟏. We are going to be analyzing, looking at the performance of both teams, given that Kotos 🎭🟏 is just fresh from a 2-0 spanking against Pete Tonton in Yaoundé, and they fell into the hands of 🎭🟏, a heavyweight in Cameroon's domestic league.
Well, it was a good final because I, for one, had discussed about this particular game, Coton against 🎭🟏. I was looking at it from the point of view that Coton lost the Champions Trophy last year. They went to the West region. They played against Bambutu S𝘂𝗿 and they lost. So I was looking at it from the point that Coton wants not necessarily revenge, but they want to revenge on the point of view that they lost that Champions Trophy last football season. And it was a very interesting game. Only 4 minutes it took Patient Wasu to find the back of the net with Aziz picking up, to me, the man of the match in this particular encounter, and Aziz equally scoring the second goal. It was a 🎭🟏 side which, unfortunately to me, were very, very, I don't know if I want to put it slow, because they didn't really perform as they did against PWG Bamenda. Remember, it was
exactly
scoreline 2-0 against PWG Bamenda, and one would have thought that 🎭🟏 is probably the much fresher side after just coming from that game against PWG Bamenda. So one would have thought that 🎭🟏 is fresh. They know what it takes to win a major final. They've done that against PWG Bamenda. Coton is coming from various friendly games, not necessarily competitive games. So many would have wished or thought that 🎭🟏 would have an upper hand. But Coton is a side that knows how to win a final. They are multiple champions of the Elite One. They know what it takes. They know that they have to have a good nerve in order to win this particular encounter. And I was very pleased, very happy with the performance of Patient Wasu. This guy, time without number, every season continues to show his class. And I would have hoped or wished that if next is going for another destination, I think Europe should be the next point of call, and not just any other club in Europe. It should be a well-established club, because this is a guy that has a potential, and he has the potential of Mauro S𝘂𝗿. And why not this year? He might be the marksman for Coton Sport of Garoua. And I was very happy with his performance. Same with Aziz Basene, who equally performed very, very well in that particular encounter. So it was an all-round victory for Coton Sport. I think we have to also talk about the issue of the coach. Remember, the coach Daniel
I was getting there.
Had a lot of stick after he lost that qualifier for the CAF Champions League. And many were like, is he going to be the guy to take Coton Sport to the next level? He was brought in with his experience, but unfortunately, his experience didn't really show for Coton in the CAF Champions League qualifier. And he really put doubters to bed this day with the way he performed. And after the game, he talked about the fact that the players put what they had learned in practice sessions. And it just shows you that if Coton continues in the same way that Daniel Bread wants the side to go, we shouldn't be surprised to see Coton Sport actually picking up the title of the M10 Elite One. So all around, good day for Coton. The attention now turns to the Elite One Football Championship.
Exactly.
Same with the likes of Football Club, who I think will be logging on with AUDACE, if I'm not mistaken, and for Coton logging on against Stade Renato Vermelon.
We shall get there, don't worry.
For these two sides, and we hope that the performances that he had will be replicated in the M10 Elite One Championship.
Now, the coach, Daniel Brott, dedicated the trophy to the supporters of Coton Sport of Garoua, but he has equally asked that they should give him at least three years so that he can be able to bring back trophy back home, a continental trophy. Do you actually see that possible with the French tactician?
Well, unfortunately, I can't really get much of your question. Maybe I might have to step away from where I am, or maybe the network out there.
No, I was asking.
Not really the best. But I got you from the point of view of dedicating this particular trophy to the fans. Quite rightly so. You know, the fans of Coton last year, and even the president, Fernand Sado, talked about the fact that the ambition for this year is to pick the league and do the cup job, which they missed out last year. They won just the Elite One Championship and missed out on the Cup of Cameroon. And so that's the ambition that the side actually has for this new football season. And rightly so, dedicating it to the fans. Remember, the fans, they are noted the 12-man support. Even before the final took place there at the Bepanda Stadium, I was on social media going through the reaction of the fans of Coton Sport, and you could see the mobilization that was being done. You know that this is a team that is being supported every corner of this particular country. And the fans want more. Remember that the fans have tasted victory in the League One Championship for a number of years now. The fans have equally tasted victory in the Cup of Cameroon, and now they're testing a victory in the Champions Trophy, or better known as the Super Cup. But I think what the fans want is not these trophies. To me, the fans are tired, or if I'm a fan of Coton Sport, I should be tired. Why? Because we need to go a step further than just the Elite One Football Championship. We need to go a step further than just the Cup of Cameroon. The next stage is the CAF Champions League. And that's a hurdle which Coton Sport hasn't really gotten a grasp of. That's something which they suffered for a long time. And I believe that as a fan, that's what they should be doing, pushing the team to know that the next stage, yes, we've won this number of trophies for the Elite One, yes, we've won the Cup of Cup, yes, we've won the Champions Trophy at the moment, but what is the next stage? The next stage, rightly so, should be the CAF Champions League. It's a league where they've had difficulty for the past couple of years. The CAF Confederation Cup, they performed quite mixed performances. But I believe that the next stage for me as a journalist and as a person who follows Coton Sport, definitely the fans should be pushing the side for the CAF Champions League.
And that's why I was asking you that Daniel-Luc Brett, who is the head trainer of Coton Sport of Garoua, has asked that the authorities of Coton Sport of Garoua should give him just 3 years. He's going to bring back a continental title to Cameroon. Do you see that possible? Hello, Boris.
Well, I can't quite get your question. Maybe I might have to.
Maybe the network seems to be.
The line is quite another best.
Yes. Now, Daniel Brook has asked the authorities of Kotos Morogara to give him at least 3 years to bring back a continental trophy to Cameroon with Kotos Morogara. Do you see it possible with him? We seem to be having a little network problem here with Boris. But we must remind ourselves that we are live on the program, Club AUDACE, and we are talking about analyzing the game of yesterday, pitting Kotos Morogara against S𝘂𝗿 🭍🟏. It was Kotos Sports' first ever Super Cup win and partly settles the anger of their CAF Champions League preliminary elimination. Kotos Morogara has broken the jinx by defeating S𝘂𝗿 2-0 to win the 2023 Super Cup. Boris is once more back. I was asking Daniel Brett of Kotos Morogara has asked the authorities of Kotos Morogara to give him 3 years to bring back a continental trophy to Cameroon. Do you see it possible with him?
Well, unfortunately, the line is quite not the best on my point of view. Maybe we'll have to.
Maybe we change our line. We change our line now. We change our line to call you through WhatsApp so that we can see how the network is going to look like this afternoon. But permit me tell our listeners that Waso scored from the penalty spot after 5 minutes before Aziz Bassane added a second before the break to hand cup winners Cup 2 last season's Elite 1 Championship. Coach Brett saw his good start hopes and against AS Real Bamako in the CAF Champions League 2 weeks ago. But his side made the perfect response to that shock setback by cruising to victory at Bepanda Omispor Soccer Theatre on Sunday in the Cameroon Super Cup, and Brett refused to admit a sense of relief while appreciating his players and fans. He said, and I quote, that I'm proud of my players. They applied everything we practiced during a training session. Congratulations to our opponent. And of course, we are going back to Boya to join Boris Esono. All right, we make an attempt to get to generic to get to Boris once again. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get back to Boya, to Boris Esono. Welcome back, Boris.
Thank you very much, everyone. I think the line is quite clear.
All right. So I was asking, Daniel Brett of Kotos Morogara has asked the authorities of Kotos Sport to give him just 3 years, and that is going to bring back a continental trophy to Cameroon. Do you see that possible as well?
Well, I think that's what most coaches usually do, depending on what they want to say. They must talk about sweet information for the fans to actually go behind him. And I don't know if 3 years is actually going to be that number of time that we are needed for Koton to bring back continental glory. I was talking about last time that Koton has won Elite. No doubt. They've won the Cup of Cameroon, no doubt. But what is their hurdle? The hurdle is the CAF Champions League. And that's a competition where they failed to reach the final, if I'm not mistaken, for the past couple of years. Even last year, they had a very poor performance. And this year,
exactly,
they didn't even qualify. So if he's talking about 3 years, it means that this 1 year has already gone. We're left with 2 years because this year they will not be playing the CAF Champions League. So he's left with 2 years to make magic. I see it as I don't want to put it as a farce, or I don't want to wet down the ambition of Daniel Brett, but I'm just looking at it from the point of view that he's just saying it maybe please the fans and equally to just let management be behind him. But I think 2 years, it might be possible. We should not write Kotosport out. They are a side that have a lot of ambition. They have good players. They can challenge. But I am struggling to see within 3 years for it to be achieved. But it can be. We should not write Cotton, but I'm struggling to see it within that 3 years. Remember, like I said, 1 year has already gone. So I left with just 2 years for his ambition to come true.
Okay, all right. Let's leave the Super Cup now to talk about day one matches of the M10 Elite One Championship, which of course gets underway as from the 4th of October 2023. You were in Yaoundé during the opener of this year's football championship. What did your eyes see?
Well, it was a very interesting opener in the Guayaquil Stadium. Very entertaining, very thrilling. Fovazu against Victoria United. Victoria United had to ferry some of their fans from Limbe to Yaoundé to actually give them the 12-month support. But you could see from the stadium, in terms of the, it's like night and day in terms of the fans, because Fovazu most of the time were almost 90% of the fans in that particular stadium. But I think it's Victoria United they knew what was at stake in this particular game.
Okay.
They knew that they were the underdog because after 19 years out of the Elite One Football Championship, they are playing a Fovazu side have been in the Elite One Football Championship for the past number of years, and they knew that they were the underdogs. But they went there, and from the very first minute to me, I saw Fovazu as the team that was newly promoted in terms of the way Victoria United actually handled this particular game. They were bossy, they handled the midfield and made it difficult for Fovazu to actually penetrate their box. And that's why you saw Richmond G scoring the 2 goals for Victoria United. And even when Fovazu got hold of the game, to me they got hold of the game in the second half after they succeeded in scoring their own goal. They tried, had a number of opportunities, but the defense of Victoria United was very, very outstanding in that game. The goalkeeper, he still needs to work, but he produced a number of saves to help Victoria United stay in this particular game. So I think we want to judge the first and second half. Victoria United had the first half, and a bit of the second half, Fovazu only came back in terms of the second half, which by the time they scored, it was very limited time for them to equalize. So Opopo showed that, yes, the Elite 2 that they played, which they finished at first, they can really mingle with the big boys.
Exactly.
I was very not certain as to if Victoria United can actually show up like the big boys have been doing. Because I was looking at the group where they had Kotosport and they have Yonswa Kenny Mubamenda. I was like, maybe it's going to be a tough test for them in this first game. But I think they proved me wrong in this particular first game. So, like I said, Fovazu, yes, they had a series of opportunities. To me, they would have won this particular game if at all they would have taken. They took their chances, but that wasn't the case. And they have to go back now to the drawing board and hope that in the second game things are going to change for them. Popo comes back to the southwest, and even when they were coming, you could see the jubilation in their car, the way they were happy, and even the president, Bob Didier, then gave 15,000 francs match bonuses. This
to every player.
Motivating every player. It's a sign of motivating the player. Say, okay, if you win this game, this is the money you get, and definitely the motivation is, of course, to go further in the competition. I was quite. What caught me after this particular game was 2 things. Richmond G in the interview, he says that he wants to be the top scorer of the Elite One Football Championship for a first game in the Elite One, and to make that bold statement, I believe that he knows what he's saying.
At least it's always good to have ambitions.
It might be difficult for him. Yeah, it's good to have ambition. And scoring a brace in the first game, I think he has put information out there that, hey, you guys should look at me because I'm not here to joke. I am here to finish as the top scorer of this particular game. And the second point that really caught my attention was the motivation, same like Richmond, of the president of Victoria United, Kwang Valentine, who says that they want to win the Elite One and play CAF Champions League. And if a player management has that kind of ambition, I think we should be taking them very seriously.
Very seriously indeed. Day one matches, I'll give you the fixture as follows. Kotasa Garwa is going to host Stade de Renard de Melon. And of course, Fovro is going to host Apejas of Fou. Avion Academy is going to toss the coin with UMS of Lom. Les Astres is going to have a good soccer romance with Aigle Royal of Menua. Dynamo of Douala is going to wrestle with AS Fortuna. PWD of Bamenda is going to take on Bambutus of Buda. Canon of Yaoundé is going to face Colombe of the South. And of course, Union of Douala against Gazelle FA. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the fixture of day one coming up on October 4, 2023 in stages across the national territory. Boris Esono, we are going to be having very interesting preparatory matches ahead of AFCON 2024. We have two matches having programmed. The first against Senegal coming up on October. And then in France, October the 16th, 2023. Then the second game against Russia, that is on October 12th, 2023. So the first game, Cameroon against Russia on October 12th. And of course, the second friendly game, Cameroon-Senegal. What is your take when you look at these two fixtures, the two friendly matches programmed by the boys of Coach Rigo Besson?
I wish there is the same program that's been done with all the other selections of the country. But we were talking about the Lions, or focus my attention on the Lions. It's any friendly game, I think it's good to have that preparation ahead of the competition, and Cameroon equally is preparing for the FIFA World Cup qualifiers.
Yeah, exactly.
Which they want to qualify again for that crucial competition. Against Russia at the Dynamo Lev Yashin Stadium, usually my worry is how do we integrate the local players into the national team? I'm not of the opinion that we should not be calling the foreign-based players, the S𝘂𝗿 🭿🟴, and the others, because these are guys who are playing well in their club side. I'm not of that opinion that we should not call them. But sometimes I'm of the opinion that it's high time we start inculcating some of our local players. Remember, we have Chan. Chan is coming up equally. The draw has been postponed due to the fact that at the moment we don't have any host for that competition, Chan 2024.
Exactly.
Remember, we have a certain Chairmalong. I'm not saying that I'm advocating for Chairmalong, who is outstanding in Tanzania with Simba. What is the problem calling this guy for the national team? There are a couple of individuals equally who are performing in the local scene. Kotong has already proven that. Bambutus has been proving that for some time now. Canon produced a top scorer, but unfortunately he's not even having this in the national team. So first, it is good that we are having these friendly games against I think Mexico, if I'm not mistaken, and Russia. It's good, but the next stage has to be, how do we integrate some of these local players, and even others who are not playing in Cameroon, who are playing on the African continent? We have a number of other individuals who are performing well. So it's not all the time we have to be getting a certain, the same names all the time for the Lions. Yes, great unanimity that you have a certain individual who is probably from the left back, who's been there. But I think it's high time that we have a lot of competition, because to me, some of these guys feel like their place is already assured. They know that they are playing in their club side. Apart for injury, they already have a spot for the national team. So I think, to me, it's high time that we start getting some competition into the Lions. Then yes, Vincent Boubacar has scored his third goal in the Turkish Super League. Yes, Eric Maxim Choupo-Moting has been scoring recently after he has been on the bench for a couple of times. Yes, Katuka Kambi is performing somehow out there in Aba in Saudi Arabia. But to me, the individuals in Cameroon who are equally can push Vincent Boubacar, can push Eric Maxim Choupo-Moting, can push Toke Kambi for a spot in the national team. So I will just wait and see for the game against Russia. We hope that things are going to be smoothly, so that Rigo Besson knows the first 11 that are going to be contesting for the game as far as AFCON is concerned.
So I come back to you just after this commercial break.
Mon frère, Momo S𝘂𝗿, c'est la magie. Tu payes l'école des enfants et tu gagnes encore. Payez les frais de scolarité avec Momo et soyez un des gagnants de 60 bourses scolaires que Momo S𝘂𝗿 offre chaque jour. Tape étoile 126 dièse ou télécharge Momo App. Momo, leader de la lutte anti-foirage. Alors, on fait quoi aujourd'hui? Le sport comme vous aimez, c'est sur Radio AUDACE.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Boris, we're talking about the two upcoming friendly encounters of the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon ahead of their competition in Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire, as far as the AFCON 2024 is concerned.
Yes, definitely. And it's a good friendly game that we have against Russia, the 12th of October. And remember that if you want to look at the performances of some of the players who've been there, unfortunately for Andre Onana hasn't really been the best of time with Manchester United so far, after many have pointing fingers at him, having considered his number of goals as opposed to David De Gea, who many are like David De Gea would have been best pleased to be presently at United than having Andre Onana. But you have to also look at the players in which are in the back line for Manchester United. I'm not saying that the blame should all go to defense, but I think there's some lousy defending has been done, making sure that Andre Onana concedes. And equally, Andre Onana himself, certain goals that he has let out and made to go into his net, which to me would have saved. So I think the players really need to step up. Like I said, for S𝘂𝗿 🭿🟬🴴, he's been showing it. He showed it over the weekend. That is somebody who can rely on. His pass is, I think he's in 30s, early 30s at the moment. So he doesn't have that much time again for the Lions then. Same with Maxime Choupo-Moting, who started scoring after being on the bench. He's equally into his early 30s. It's a guy who within the next couple of years we shouldn't be seeing him again for the Lions then. Same with S𝘂𝗿 🭿🟬🴴. So these guys have been performing well with their club, and it's going to be an interesting friendly game against Russia, because all these sides, they are using this friendly game as an opportunity to prepare for crucial encounters. For Russia, they're preparing for the Euro, for Cameroon, equally the FIFA World Cup qualifier, and equally the Africa Cup of Nations. Remember that we've always had a problem with European clubs playing AFCON. There's reports that Andre Onana might not be there for at the AFCON there. I think he has made it clear that he wants to be there if he scored again for the national side.
As usual, always report.
That's going to be another time looking at if at all most of these clubs want to liberate their players. But I think it's something that the clubs out there in Europe should really know, that AFCON is a big competition in Africa. It's a competition where most Africans want to play. And so if you're telling them that they shouldn't come, you should also be telling the Europeans that don't go to the Euro qualifiers and so on and so on.
That's it.
A good game. I expect a good game for the friendly. And like I said, everyone, it is a friendly encounter. Let's give the locals a chance. I might be saying this often, but I think it's something which we should really be thinking about. See what is happening with Senegal. They had a certain Diarra, if I'm not mistaken, a young player, 15 years of age, who was given the chance after starring for the Under-17 Africa Cup of Nations, finishing as the top scorer, and recently inculcated into the national side. But in Cameroon, I think it's the reverse. It's rarely do we see Under-17 and even the Under-20 being given a chance for the national team. I'm not saying that they don't merit it, but I think it's high time we start looking at that passage.
At least preparing the relay team.
It's an opportunity to test other players than just getting the certain players on and off that we know that they're going to be there. So I think for me, I expect that during the call-up, Rigobert Song should give an invite to the locals, maybe 5 or so. It's not all about getting just one and we are happy, or getting 2 and we are happy that we have local players in the national team. No, it's a friendly game. Let's give these guys a chance, so that if at all we have a problem with the so-called big names, who knows? I'm not praying for the wars that S𝘂𝗿 🭿🟬🴴 can be, even S𝘂𝗿 🭿🟬🴴, something happens. where do we turn to? We have to turn to the reserves that were called on. So it's high time that Gregor Besson starts thinking about this direction, looking at bringing in the local players.
But then when you talk about bringing in the local players, October 12th is not too far. Eh? We are already 10 more days to go. So therefore means that he has probably, let's say, roughly 6 more days to decide who is going to come in for the very first encounter against Russia, and who is going to come in for the next encounter on the 16th against Senegal. So what local players do you want? Do you wish to see when we are just getting our competition at domestic league started?
And also look at the timing in which the game is being announced. For the game against Russia. So how many days, like you said, a few days to go for the competition, and we are announcing that we are going to be facing Russia. So it just shows that we sometimes, sorry to say, but we are not serious sometimes in the organization of friendly games. Because if you're organizing this kind of friendly of this magnitude, the players should know beforehand instead of giving them a couple of days. And don't be surprised that when this call-up goes out, some of the European teams refuse to send their players. Because to me, it's short. Many knew that they were going to be facing Senegal, which is rightly so. They knew that beforehand because it was posted a long time ago. But how many days are we talking about? And we're seeing now another friendly, or the first friendly before even the Senegal game against Russia. So it's barely, I just see it as maybe we might not even get any player. I would have loved to see S𝘂𝗿 🭭🬶, Aziz Bassene, because these are the two guys who have really impressed me, giving a chance in this friendly game. But like you said, it's barely a couple of days. Remember, Coton will be playing in a few days to come.
Exactly.
And do you expect Coton to also release their players when they know that they have this number of games that will be coming up? So unfortunately, it's just bad timing for me for this friendly game. And that's why, we'll be saying mostly the European teams. And also you have to look at the issue of getting a visa. If we are talking about, remember that most of the Africans always have this issue of getting visas to European countries. So it might be difficult if we want to talk about this friendly game getting local-based players. We don't even know if the visas can be processed within the shortest possible time. So we might just be getting the European players and even those from America participating in this game. And don't be surprised that we might see some new faces from Europe actually given a chance to play in this game.
All right, looking at some of our indomitable Lions over the weekend, some of them were very performant, like S𝘂𝗿 🭭🬶🬶, who scored his third goal in third outing out there in Turkey. We equally have Kevin Kudo in Saudi Arabia, who too has not been resting on his laurels. He was very performant over the weekend so far. While others seem to have gone on a recess, there are others still working very much hard.
Yes, and I think Joshua Kevin Kudo wants to come back to the national team, and that's showing in his performance. Unfortunately, the Saudi Arabia League is not really pronounced, but it's been pronounced now because of the number of signings that the country has done for Cristiano Ronaldo, Sadio Mane, and most others. So the league is getting a bit of notification because of the number of signings that they've done. And I believe that if Josh Kevin Kudo continues this fine performance, remember, Saudi Arabia to Russia is not a very long distance. I'd just be seeing him giving another chance again back to the national team. And for S𝘂𝗿 🭭🬶🬶, he's a personality who makes people to lie down in green pastures, as many individuals put it. And over the weekend did the same. Almost a similar goal he had in the FIFA Qatar World Cup. S𝘂𝗿 🭭🬶🬶 has proven time without numbers that he's somebody who we can rely on. And I believe that the AFCON is a sure bet for me, getting S𝘂𝗿 🭭🬶🬶 into the Lions. Then unfortunately for Eric Maxime Choupo-Moting, remember that this guy has really had a very slow start to his career in the German Bundesliga. Because of the signing of Harry Kane. After Harry Kane came in, he was left on the bench, and he only got a couple of goals in the DFB Pokal, where he's preferred as opposed to Harry Kane. And so that's why we're seeing a very slow performance at the moment from Eric Maxime Choupo-Moting, due to the fact that the coach is preferring Harry Kane as opposed to him. Still in Turkey, we have a certain Clinton Jer. Remember, Menipur Sound they whistled for Clinton J to come back to the national team.
Exactly.
After his performances with S𝘂𝗿 in the friendly game and into the league. And when he was brought back into the national team, he had, I think, almost 3 or so minutes, which to me
it was not
really
enough.
Show his performance. It was not enough to show what he can do. And after the game which Cameroon had, unfortunately, I've not really seen much again of Clinton J. So I think we should not be surprised that Clinton J is not called up for this friendly game. So people should not start coming out and say, we need an phone. No.
Exactly.
His performances haven't really shown. So
as usual, they will be there.
Objective. Yeah, we should be objective when we are getting the call up. If Jay hasn't performed, we should not call him. We should remove the sentiments aside. That is an Anglophone. No. If he's not performing, we should not call him.
At least Coach Rigobert Song said it after the post-match the press conference in Garoua, that any player who wants to maintain his or his stay in the Lions Den must be very, very efficient in their respective clubs, without which they should not expect a call-up, maybe a friendly match or going to Côte d'Ivoire.
Yeah, and that's how we should do it. We should look at performances of players and not call people because of the fact that they have a certain stature in the Lions Den. Yes, to me, if I'm calling players, most of the time I not even call Eric Maxime Choupo-Moting. Yes, we talk about the fact that he has scored, but he has scored where? Which games? He's playing the DFB Pokal with small ranked teams, and that's why he's getting the goals, and rightly so. His performances in this game have shown. But when we talk about league experience, he's on the bench and he hasn't had even how many minutes or so from the German Bundesliga. So we shouldn't be calling people because of the fact that they have a state in the club. We should call them based on their performances. And there's another guy which I don't know anyone now that you've really looked at. It is Jean-Pierre S𝘂𝗿. Unfortunately, I don't know what is happening with this guy. He performs well with young boys in Switzerland, but when he's called up to the national team, one, he has an injury before he comes to the national team, and two, he had a problem with the national team, and that's why he refused to call up last time around. So Jean-Pierre S𝘂𝗿 has really proven it, and if you want to classify the top scorers in Euro, Cameroonian inclined, Jean-Pierre S𝘂𝗿 is top in the number of goals that he has scored. But unfortunately, sometimes it's like he's neglected. And also due to his performances, or he had injury or has injury, he refused the call up. So I think this is a guy that I think, to me, we should be looking at Jean-Pierre S𝘂𝗿 in the call up that Rigobert Song will be doing as far as the striker is concerned. In England, we have Bryan Mbeumo is performing brilliantly, outstandingly. His performances have really been on an equal par in all the games that he has had. And I believe there is somebody who I think we can really rely on as far as the national team is concerned.
All right, Boris, thank you very much for your time on today's edition of the program, Club AUDACE. Inshallah, we shall be meeting again in the weeks ahead, in the days ahead.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that does it for today's edition of Club AUDACE. It's a new format. We have been given just 45 minutes by the management to tell you or to revisit sport issues, particularly on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, at the audio console, I benefit from technical expertise of Samuel Elong. I have been Henry Wana at the anchor in Douala. Good afternoon.